I'm here with Hyundai's first ever XRT Pro model. This is the 2026 Hyundai Palisade in the XRT Pro trim. I'm gonna go over these details with you guys today. We're taking it off-road, as you can see, through these beautiful vineyards at this amazing lake and this incredible valley. And look how much dirt's on that guy. She's been tested quite well. And we got some slaloms coming up here, some undulations for the suspension to handle. Before we get going off-road though, let's get into the design as well as the features here of this first ever XRT Pro. Well, we have recovery points. We have two on the front. I'll show you the ones in the back. We have a much more vertical focused grille. It's almost like this is almost one big skid plate that kind of wraps around the front bumper. Speaking of which, Hyundai has equipped this with a Palisade skid plate. It actually says Palisade underneath. Let me see if I can show you. We have a Palisade skid plate under there, which they're developing currently. It's not available at the time of launch, so this vehicle does not launch with protection, underbody protection, but they are working on it. So we come to the side. This Palisade XRT does have an additional inch of ground clearance. So I think the standard one's around 7.4. This is 8.4 inches of ground clearance. And we have 18-inch wheels here with these Continental cross-contact all-terrain tires, 255 by 60 all the way around. All right, so we come to the rear, more recovery points, one there, and we do have a big, I would say not a full-size spare tire, but we do have a spare tire there with blacked out XRT inspired badging here for the Palisade logo and the Hyundai logo. Here's your XRT Pro. Again, we've seen XRT on Santa Fe. We've seen it on Santa Cruz. I think it's on the Tucson as well, but the Pro gives you more performance. So we have, like I said, that extra inch of ground clearance, but you also in the back, let's see if we can get under here, there is an electronic limited slip differential for the rear. So that gives us a little bit more all-wheel drive control for this H-Track system. A little XRT badge there on the more rugged bottom of the trim here on the door sills. And I think it's time to go ahead and try our chops off-road in the new XRT Pro Palisade for 2026. And it still gives us the V6. I believe the XRT is only available in the V6, not the hybrid. The hybrid's still not available until fall of 2025. I just came out of the top of the line Palisade, and I can already say that this seemingly is just as quiet, even though this is a more off-road model. Now, keep in mind that tire noise and wheel noise on pavement might differ a little bit. But honestly, with the laminated glass here on the sides, you're doing a little bit of like some glamping, a little off-road that has some luxury to it. Now, what is the ride quality like here on just a dirt road? It's pretty bumpy, honestly. You can tell it's unibody. And I have off-roaded the Santa Fe before, and it is far more capable than you would think it is. Now, that engine in the Santa Fe had the 2.5 turbo, which has a lot of torque. This setup with the naturally aspirated V6 doesn't have quite that swell of torque that the Santa Fe does, interestingly, right? But it does have a quieter, much quieter engine, the V6 here, and a smoother engine than that turbo 4-cylinder. And it's definitely noticeable even at low speeds as we go up the hill here. There's our first sign. All right. And now we're officially off. Well, it's still a trail. It's still a trail, but we are off-roading now. And we're gonna and let's not go into the drink. Now this is great. This is why we this is one of the cool things about this XRT is the underfloor camera, which is also new for Hyundai to my recollection. So it shows underneath the vehicle because of the camera. So like apparently if you go past a certain mile per hour, maybe 5 miles per hour, it turns off, it seems like, which is actually, it says display restricted for your safety, but I feel like it actually makes it more dangerous because it shuts off at such a low mile per hour that you're constantly looking up and down, right? I want to just kind of have this up here, but as I accelerate, well, is it going to turn off? Yeah, it turns off after about 5-6 miles an hour, and it's almost like, you know, that's only good for pretty much when you're stopped. That 360 camera with the underfloor option to it, or the underbody camera. But man, I'll tell you, this engine is so much quieter, like I said, than the Palisade's little brother, the Santa Fe, for off-road. And actually at all RPMs. And I'm not talking about the hybrid, just a standard turbo model. That is very a big difference between the two. Like the engine here is pretty much a non-sound emitting device unless your foot's all the way down. All right, we do have downhill ascent control, I believe, right here. Sometimes I like using them in these vehicles, other times I do not, but I'm just gonna let it do its thing. Hard left, he says. All right, that's really good spotting. All right, and we made that turn. So long wheelbase. I mean, the Santa Fe that I drove also had a long wheelbase, and my foot's not on the brake pedal right now because the downhill ascent control is on. All right, so it's just kind of doing its own thing here, which is nice to have. I personally, like, if I'm doing this, I like being a little bit more in direct control. So I like, you know, feeling the brake pedal, feeling what's going on through the brake pedal as well. But yeah, you're always welcome to use the downhill descent control option. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Ooh, got a nice kick in of dust because I forgot to roll out the window. And yeah, handled that. That was really loose gravel, or you could say dirt, rock, whatever you want to call it. I'm in the mud mode, and it did a great job keeping the tires moving in this mode and propelling the vehicle up this pretty steep mountain that we're climbing right here. But yeah, the long wheelbase, like I was saying, you can definitely tell. I'm used to off-roading and things closer to about 112-inch wheelbase. I'll go and put on the screen what this new Palisade's wheelbase is. It has grown by 2.7 inches over the previous generations. So it's noticeably, it actually doesn't feel bigger than the old Palisade, even though it has more interior space than the old one and more interior cargo space than the old one. So Hyundai's done a really good job with the packaging here. They've shortened the overhang. So this XRT model with the added inch of ground clearance compared to the standard model has decent, I would say. I don't know what you would compare to the approach, breakover, and departure angles, but they have shared those angles with us. And you know, what I'm doing right here is probably more rugged than what the average XRT person is going to be doing. So, and that was the same for the XRT Santa Fe that I tested. Like, that was a harder course than this, a more difficult course, I would say. And the ride quality in here is better than the Santa Fe when doing off-roading. But again, this isn't the same off-roading course. I have downhill ascent control still on. So, and I also have paddle shifters here that I can keep the car's transmission within a specific gear. So I just have it in second gear right now. But it is also doing the descent control, which I thought I turned off. Maybe I have to have the foot on the brake. There we go. You have to put your foot on the brake so you just don't roll down the mountain. And look at these beautiful rows of vineyards. You know, grape plants. What do you call them? Grapevines. Words. We don't have a whole lot of vineyards where I come from, so it's always welcome to see that. And here we are. We're coming to, well, I get to drive through the vineyards. How about that? All right. Now in the sand mode, there are just 3 off-road modes here. Sand, mud, let me get into the other one, and snow. Sand, mud, snow. Those are the 3 modes here. And really, I mean, I can see a good amount from my seating position because I cranked up the seat height before I got in here. But this is going to be fun. This is going to be fun here. Just trying to keep moving steadily. Again, I'm going downhill, so I don't have to do any throttle control here. We're just using brake because downhill descent control is disabled in this sand mode. Okay, not too bad there, not too bad. Now, what I do have some limitations here. Like, if I was in a body on frame, I feel like I would have much more articulation with the wheels and the suspension. But honestly, it's doing better than I would expect it to. And it's very smooth. All right, very, very smooth in how it's handling these difficult surfaces. Not bad. Not bad for unibody and only 8 inches of ground clearance. I'll see if he needs any words of advice or just
nice and slow.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Okay, needed a little bit of gas there at one point, but it's still a bit downhill. Oh, she did it. I'm glad we had all-terrain tires there, because that stuff was pretty jaggy. I think that was the hardest part, I believe. I think I'm just turning it in now. Like, typically, I'm always surprised at how much these unibodies can handle if thrown at it. But it's not something I would want to be off-roading frequently in the Palisade XRT Pro. All right, it's going to be more than capable for occasional snow here and there, some paths like this. I think it'd be really great for the regular, if that was what it was seeing on its regular usage. But the harder stuff, I would want more capable sort of vehicle, such as a body on frame, or like a Wrangler or something like that, a Land Cruiser Wrangler, you guys know. But honestly, most people, this is what's, people like using the term soft roader. It's very capable, but it's not going to be the most comfortable while doing it, I would say. But it can do it. The dog will do what you asked it to, but it might give you a look first before doing it. So yeah, the new Palisade XRT Pro, hopefully this is just the beginning for Hyundai. Honda a few years back, they had a similar setup with the previous generation Passport. They just kind of slapped all-terrain tires and some trail sport badges and called it a day. But the new generation really is kicking butt and is very capable, and they did a lot to make sure that Passport Trail Sport is capable off-road. How would I compare this to that? Well, this feels much longer. All right, so the Passport, in my opinion, and with a stock underbody underbody protection, as well as the bigger tires. It seems like it has bigger tires anyways. Like, I think it's a better vehicle for off-roading as a unibody. And the all-wheel drive system is probably better, Honda's iVTM4. But this is still very capable in a pinch, and it has 3 rows of seats, so it's hard to directly compare it to something like, I guess it'd be more like a Pilot. Would a Pilot's all-wheel drive be better? Yeah, I still think it's probably better, but again, Pilot like this, most people, even if it's a Trail Sport or an XRT Pro, most people are not dailying them doing 4-wheel drive mandatory with all-wheel, or should I say all-terrain tires, sort of a daily requirement. So as it'll do it in a pinch, and that's why you buy this vehicle. Or if you just like the looks, if you just like the looks of the XRT, the extra lift that it has, you know, the recovery points are cool, and you like having the nice camera system in here, XRT is fine, even if you don't plan to ever do any sort of off-roading that I showed you today. But I'll see you in the comments. Make sure to stay tuned for more Hyundai Palisade. The hybrid's coming out later this year, as well as stay tuned for my driving impressions on road that I did with the top of the line model. I believe it's called the Calligraphy. And then you also will see reviews coming later this year when I have it at home for a week, throw the family in. What's it capable of hauling kids? That's going to be the next challenge here with the Palisade. So thank you guys. I'll catch you in the next one.